Chaser Report is recorded on Gadigal land.
Striving for mediocrity in a world of excellence, this is the Chaser Report.
Hello and welcome to the Chaser Report with Dom and Charles.
Oh, hello, Charles. So good to see you. Now, we're in different places at the moment. You are gallivanting around the country on tour, and it seems to be going very, very well at the moment with your Wankonomics business, which I'm both very impressed by and extremely jealous of.
That's the main reason I do it, is to make you jealous, Dom.
That's right. You're in Brisbane, is that true?
Oh, I think so. I'll just check. Yeah, it looks like, it's Brisbane probably.
Oh, suddenly I'm not jealous at all.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah.
If it's at all echoey, it's because I'm literally standing in the atrium of a hotel, because everywhere else in Brisbane they have piped music, like literally very loud music everywhere, so that nobody can think about the fact that they live in Brisbane.
Yeah, and isn't it just the Bluey soundtrack? I think it's Brisbane's one thing. Bluey and a team that's good at rugby league. That's the two things that they've got.
Yeah, I think actually it's either the Bluey soundtrack, if they're wanting to be modern and up to date, or sort of Triple M hits from the mid-1980s. Like literally just sort of...
There is an album.
Yeah.
I remember this when we used to work there. There's an album called Triple M's Greatest Trucking Songs, without a hint of irony.
That is... Brisbane is the capital cities of trucking albums.
Yeah, that's right. So we'll talk about that, about things you've been up to in a few moments. But also I found a way to make money in this economy. It's even better than what you're doing, even better than selling out to theatres. It's pretty amazing stuff. In short, you steal money into your bank account.
Ooh.
That's what's happened from a couple of Commonwealth Bank employees. Internal investigators discovered mystery payments into their accounts. And the text message exchange is quite fascinating. One of them texts, $sign landed. And the next message is, I cannot believe we were this stupid.
Right. So
it's a temporary high.
But so who are you stealing from? I mean, because I quite like this, and I feel like there might be some sort of Robin Hood style angle to this if it's from the Commonwealth Bank themselves, or are they stealing from ordinary people like the Commonwealth Bank itself does?
Oh, it's kind of a victimless crime, isn't it? Okay, we'll get into all of that after we make some money less illegally. Okay, Charles, so let's talk about your business, because this is huge news. You're taking your Wankonomics project, your latest thing, new shiny toy.
Yes.
You're going global. You're playing in Edinburgh.
We've hit the big time. We're going to Edinburgh. Look, I don't even know whether I'll bother returning to Australia, to be honest.
No, this is the hope, yeah.
We're playing 12 nights in a 300-seater in Edinburgh. I think that'll just catapult me. It'll be a bit like Baby Reindeer.
Sure.
Not when he goes to Edinburgh, obviously, where he completely bombs in that pub, or where he gets sort of like molested by that promoter. But I mean, good. It'll be like Baby Reindeer in that eventually I'll end up with my own 7-part Netflix series about all the stalkers that I attracted over the years.
It could also be Train Spotting, couldn't it?
Oh yes, because that's Scotland, isn't it?
It could be you in the most disgusting toilet in the world, making bad life choices.
Yeah. Mind you, I'm in Brisbane, so...
True.
The only way is up, really.
So Wankonomics is the stage show you've been doing. It's observations about terrible corporate language. It's a gift that keeps giving. It's like a recurring email. That, those annoying emails you get every single day from the staff member who can't be bothered trimming the email distribution group. That's what this is like. It just keeps delivering.
Yeah, and most people who come to see the show and then write to us to sort of thank us for it, sort of admit that they really didn't like the show particularly, that it was incredibly painful to watch, that it was far too close to the bone, that it felt like being at work, and that it leads most people to sort of several weeks of self-examination about how cliched and horrible and passive aggressive they are at email and just office communication. So
That's just a wonderful thing.
we've tapped into the sort of self-hatred. You know, in those later episodes of The Office with Ricky Gervais, where they were sort of unwatchably embarrassing.
That's right. That's right. The comedy of cringe.
Yeah, that's what we've managed to unleash.
I mean, what a great service that is.
Yeah.
To make people really look at what they've done in life and realise it's not very much. Which until you had produced this stage show was arguably true of you as well. I mean, you should probably have a little disclaimer at the start of the show that says, if you feel terrible about the state of your life after this, you should talk to us about what our lives were like a week before we started this. So it's a refreshing thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, I must say, I remember I briefly worked for an American sort of management consulting firm, and I could not believe on day one of that job the way that they kept using the word around.
What do you mean?
I've been doing some thinking around this.
Oh, I see.
Which means that actually means I've been thinking about everything but the thing that I need to. I've been procrastinating. Why don't you try thinking about the thing?
You're going to have sort of fuzzy feelings about, I'm going to think not sharply, not precisely about the thing, but just sort of around the general topic area.
Yeah. I'll be circling around the topic and never getting to it. That was one. They also used the phrase, we'll be addressing that in a going forward manner.
Oh, this is great.
This is 22 years ago. They were so far ahead of their times. But these are all just commonplace in Australia now. Like around, everyone says around. We've been doing some work around this.
We should touch base, Dom, later in the week and maybe just circle back to some of these conversation topics so that
I'd love to circle back.
You can upload them. You can download them. Or is it
I can download them from me and upload them to you.
Yeah. Although I'm not sure I have the bandwidth at the moment for that, Dom.
You're very well trained. So this is what the show's like. If you want to go and see it, you should. I mean, I haven't managed to make it yet, possibly because of the cringe factor.
Mind you, so on Friday night, we had a sold-out performance at the Enmore, second show. Sorry, not sorry. Anyway, halfway through the show, or just a bit before halfway through the show, the entire theatre blacked out. We look outside, the entire suburb has blacked out, so's the surrounding suburbs. Huge blackout. And so we just had to tell everyone to go home. We've got to do the fucking whole show again.
Seriously?
Next Wednesday, yes. And
I might come then.
You should come on Wednesday, yeah. Although it won't make much sense because we're going to pick the show up from where we left off because we've got 1,600 people who have seen half a show. It's actually a disaster from our perspective because we're going, how are we going to pad out an hour having already burnt through
Q&A.
Half a Q&A,
Just do a Q&A at the end
great idea.
and collect some new examples. That's so you'll be literally circling back.
Yeah.
I love it. You'll be circling back. That's fantastic. It's also PowerPoint. You had a PowerPoint surge.
I know. Yeah. Well,
you blacked out the whole suburb.
So this is what happened was we realised we were fucked because the whole show is based on this massive PowerPoint presentation that we have put together, and it was like, could we do this just from my laptop? So I brought the laptop out on stage and sort of asked everyone whether they could see the laptop well enough to keep going. And, no.
I suspect the answer was no.
No. Well, the actual answer was what happened was they were worried that they only had half an hour of emergency light. I didn't know this. When they black out and the sort of emergency lights come on, you've only got half an hour to then get everyone out of the building. So
I mean, that does make sense that you just have enough battery power to get people out of there rather than needing to continue with the show.
I know.
You then need some Tesla batteries.
Yeah. Well, because
a rare situation where a Tesla product would have been useful.
We got everyone to use their phone torches to light us up. So we actually could be seen on stage, but
that's bizarre.
Yeah, it was quite fun.
So that's on, and you got more gigs coming up later in the year. Well, I mean, the thing is, Charles, with this comedy of the cringe being too real, we've just had the 30th anniversary of Frontline, and it is extraordinary how true all that still is. So if you do the a TV version of this, Frontline is like the Bruce Lerman trial, as people have been pointed out. the spotlight revelations about all the lunches and the hookers and all that. It's just straight out of Frontline 30 years later.
Yes, you're right. The checkbook journalism. Yes, you're right.
Which is, I don't know, I can't work out whether it's more impressive and whether they should feel proud to have produced an enduring piece of comedy, or whether it's utterly depressing that you can completely take apart an entire genre of television and mock it so brilliantly and make absolutely no impact on the art form itself. Like, clearly no one gives a shit if it's like Frontline at all.
Yeah, I think that is the lesson, that art has no impact.
Yeah.
And that,
I mean, Rob Sitch is constantly getting people saying to him, oh, my job's just like Utopia.
Yeah.
But it doesn't change.
No.
The jobs don't get any less like Utopia.
No.
Just because they've, again, accurately satirised real life.
In fact, if anything, people incorporate art and use it as sort of how to go about, like, I'm sure people walk out of our show sort of thinking about all the language that they use, but then incorporating some of the new jargon that they've learned as well into their lives.
Yes, you'll have taught them new terrible jargon that they'll then go and use in their careers. That's shocking. That's truly shocking. So when are you in Edinburgh? When's that all happening?
So that happens on the mid August. I don't imagine we have a huge number of Edinburgh-based listeners to this podcast, but if you do happen to be at the Edinburgh Fringe, we'll be there. I think we're playing from the 12th of August to the 26th of August.
Wow.
Playing at Pleasance 1 at 6 p.m. It's pretty nice. Well, I've never been there, but apparently it's
very good.
Nice.
Everyone says it's a good venue.
Oh, but I'll tell you what.
Yeah?
They're incredibly conservative, so we can't call it. None of our posters can have the word wankernomics on it.
Oh.
We've got to blank out ANKE. It's got to be W-onomics.
Oh.
It's so dumb.
So you won't sell any tickets because no one will get the joke.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
The Chaser Report. News a few days after it happens.
Charles, we've done the podcast for a while now, and a lot of people have come on who've actually played Edinburgh, and every single one of them has said that you lose money doing it.
Yes.
So I look forward to that conversation at the end of it.
Yeah, that's right. Well,
it'll be a great experience.
Maybe I could pick up some tips from these geniuses at the Commonwealth Bank about how to make back my money when I arrive home.
You could. So this is the story we're going to talk about that's in the news that I've just seen. I don't quite have the bandwidth at this point. This is Sunday afternoon. We're quite late in the evening we're recording this. I don't know if I've got the bandwidth to actually process, to download the learnings from this this particular news article in the Sydney Morning Herald. Let me try and explain it as best as I can. So this is Christmas Eve 2014.
Yeah.
2 people were sacked from the Commonwealth Bank after internal investigators discovered a series of mystery payments into a guy called John Waldron's account. He was General Manager of IT Infrastructure Engineering and just found guilty of taking bribes over many, many years. And basically the way that it seems to work, what was alleged by the prosecutor was that a California-based cloud computing startup gave software services to the bank from 2009, and that this guy had kind of smoothed the way for those deals, right? So they paid this guy more than $2 million US for introducing the deal, and this Waldron guy got the money. He didn't declare it to the bank, so he's getting a little payola on the side, supposedly, is what's gone on.
So that doesn't sound as easy to do. That's not as easy as a normal bank robbery, though, because you've got to be an employee of the bank, I presume.
I guess, you'd have to work for the bank and be knowledgeable, wouldn't you?
Yeah. The thing that worries me is this went on for years without them noticing.
Yeah, and the strange thing was they only found out about it because they looked into his use of a corporate credit card. So if he'd actually managed to, it would have been very easy for him to do this and stay clean.
See,
this is the thing you've got to learn, Charles, from this as you become world famous. And,
yes,
Flight of the Conchords went to Edinburgh and got discovered there and all this sort of stuff. That could be you. Were you more talented? I think, the world is your oyster. All the big talent scouts go to Edinburgh. And they won't know what your show's called, but they might be interested.
But what we're going to do is we're going to work out how to, what is in our world something that we can then corruptly offer the contract for. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, you get a corporate credit card.
maybe if somebody wants to advertise, we could help them. You just pay us $14 million over 5 years.
Yes.
And we'll get you a good deal on advertising on the Chaser Report.
That's right.
Is that the sort of thing?
Yeah. I really think just the rivers of gold in podcasting, we could very easily just sort of smooth people's entree.
You work at a university. Don't they just throw money around to academics to do stuff?
Not in
they
my
just throw
experience.
millions of dollars? No.
But I think what we could do, the people we know who we could do these sorts of deals with, I think I've figured it out.
Okay.
The people we could introduce, we know some media lawyers.
Yep.
And if there's one group of people in recent years who've done very, very well,
Yes.
it's media lawyers. Not the people, not the plaintiffs.
No.
Not the defendants. Because I don't know if you saw, Charles, the other news story that came out on Friday was that the costs order in the Lerman trial
Yes.
it came down, and the costs were given on an indemnity basis, meaning that Channel 10 would have had 95% covered by Lerman if Lerman had any money at all.
Yes.
So 10's still going to have to pay probably because he doesn't have any money. His deal was on a no win, no fee.
Yes.
So those lawyers are out of pocket big time. But the other lawyers have done really well. They've done millions. So we just need to run kind of like a corporate dating service for media lawyers.
Yes.
And idiots who get sued or who sue people.
And what we can do is we can have a little back channel. This is where the corruption comes in.
Yes.
We have a back channel where we suggest defamatory jokes and statements
That's it.
to journalists and stuff like that. And then we go to the people who they're defaming, point it out.
And tip them off.
And then,
Yes.
and then stoke the sort of fires of defamation. And just
It's vertical integration. It's a one-stop shop, Charles.
Yes, and actually, if the Chaser got sort of, I assume you can get some sort of defamation insurance.
Sure.
It could be like an inside insurance scam. We could
We
defame.
could be brokers for defamation insurance. We could suggest the defamation, sell the insurance, set up the lawyers.
Yes.
Do we need to bribe the judge? Should we do that as well? Perhaps we should.
You might as well. Yeah.
I'm sure you can't bribe judges these days, but it's worth asking a question just to be comprehensive. And then I think we've got to go further. We've got to provide the coke.
Yes.
So if there's one of those sorts of situations, we've got to have the restaurants get a cut there, get a cut of the coke deal,
karaoke machines,
and then probably the therapy that they're all going to need. So the final step is just introducing them to therapists.
Yep.
But also when they're on the inside, those who eventually get convicted, if that happens, not for defamation, but those who go to jail, we should make sure that when you pay the big guy in the yard so that they don't get stabbed,
yes,
we'll get 10% of that.
I love it.
It's called an end-to-end service provider offering, Charles. End-to-end.
And so what's the name of the firm? What are we...
I think Lerman Brothers. That brand's not being used. Is it?
Yeah, and we're not just bankrupt, we're morally bankrupt. Like, it's perfect.
That's great. Did you see that amazing play, the Lehman Brothers trilogy? There was this play with the history of Lehman Brothers for when they started out making money out of basically slavery.
Yes.
And then went broke in the GFC. I think it's a perfect brand, the Lerman Brothers.
The Lerman Brothers. We're going to set that up. That's great. Well, that's how that'll pay off my Edinburgh debts. I think that's done.
All right. Well, congratulations. I'm genuinely excited for you.
Yeah.
Having created this wankonomics thing that can't be mentioned in the UK.
No. Yeah.
And will always say that I worked with you before you moved to the UK and became famous.
Yeah, that's right. Before I start, I'll accuse you of stalking. That's what will happen.
Oh, that'd be classy of you.
Yeah.
This is evidence in the lawsuit between me and Charles, this whole episode, when it all goes down.
Our gear is from Road. We are part of the Iconoclast Network. Catch you tomorrow.
Will you still be here?
No, probably not. I'll be in some other glamorous city, like Adelaide or Hobart.
Launceston, if you're lucky.
Yeah.